Hello and welcome to the review of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I am your reviewer, Lord Fenton. In this review of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, we're going to ask the burning question: is this game worth playing, or was this a bad idea? As always, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more reviews like this. Do not forget to hit that notification bell to be updated much more. This review will go over the combat, the gameplay, minigames, graphics, the story, anything else of the matter. So that's what this review is all about. I'm going to go ahead and talk about one more topic before we kick this off. A few things I will definitely add. Number one, I'll do comparisons from time to time between the original. As you see before, even though I did play the PC version, I'll omit that instead of the original PlayStation 1 version. And of course, anything that was added, including what was added during the ending as well. I won't spoil the ending exactly. We'll call it that part of the game. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and kickstart the review. Let's go ahead and go over the graphics. Man, they are really good. They are pushing the PlayStation 5 to the limit. Imagine if this was on the PC. You have some nice options that they gave you. So for example, if you want that pure 4K with 30 frames per second, you can have that. If you want the faux 4K but 60 frames per second like I am, you go ahead and do that. Even the details on the characters look great. I really enjoy it. Even walking around looks very nice too as well. So yeah, they did a great job on the graphics. Let's go ahead and go over photo mode. Okay, I'm going to say this. They did a wonderful job of it. You can walk around, check out the environments. Just for example, you could check out the grasslands or anywhere else. You could even do this during the cutscenes. You heard that right, during the cutscenes, like this one. So yeah, that's why I got the good, I should say, picture there with Aerith. See, look at that. You could even change the camera positions, and of course the frames too. And talk about the frames, you get some of those in the game if you start taking pictures. That's right, folks. Start snapping. So either way, yeah, photo mode, it kicks some serious butt. I'm definitely go ahead and say this. The world of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is really cool. After you escape Midgard from Final Fantasy VII Remake, you get to see what's going on with the outside world because of Shinra and more. I'm going to go ahead and say this. The grasslands looks beautiful to the deserts of the Corel region, and finally, yeah, even the Nibble regions that's mountainous and dangerous at times with a nice ocean there. So yeah, the world of Final Fantasy, it looks great and it's very fun to definitely explore. I felt for the most part the UI is very clean. You don't see much clutter. In fact, you see very to little no clutter at all, which I do love absolutely. Even combat, it's clear as well. You see a little demonstration I'm doing. Yeah, look at that. The menus are there and such. It does not clutter really anything, which I absolutely do love. As for the map system, it's very good. You can mark things if you want to. You can also check out the other tabs. So this way you know what's going on. Yeah, I'm doing chapter select. That's why I'm just showing you all this real quick. Now, as for the menu UI, it looks really good. You get through the menus real quick. Very clean, very useful. I absolutely do love that big time. So if you want a UI like this in this game, yeah, they did a good job of putting this UI in it. Omni Intel is back, and I will definitely say this. I absolutely do love it. You can select which ones you want to look at. With the magnifying glass, that means you fully assess your enemies. You could check out their strengths and weaknesses, their attacks. You can even go into 3D view, which is really good. My only disappointment was they didn't have a filter for categories or organization depending on regions. Other than that, the Intel in this game is really nice. Now, before I do talk about combat, I will definitely say I prefer the original version of combat over this version, but still, we're not going to really talk anything bad about combat because it's actually pretty good this time. Now, combat, they still kept the slow motion when you're in the menu, so this way you could quickly take your time on, of course, picking which abilities you want to use or magic. Yeah, that's right, folks. Magic's back, so you know your enemy strengths and weaknesses, what type of magic you could use, abilities you do as well. Also, yeah, if you're not doing good, yeah, you'll get your butt kicked big time unless you're playing on easy. all the way. I will definitely say they did a great job of the combat system, even though, like I said before, I prefer the turn-based version of the original. So I would say definitely say bravo on that for those of you who like the action RPG element more than the turn-based. I will definitely say this about difficulty. I love it. There's your easy and normal from the remake version. Now this time they added dynamic, which starts out as easy, but if you're getting real good, it'll be up to normal difficulty. If you really suck, well, it'll be easy. What's back also is hard difficulty now with the world map and of course benches to rest on. That usually heals your MP. This time around, you only get your HP healed on hard. So yeah, mana consumption, yeah, you gotta be careful on that, or I should say MP points. So yeah, difficulty in this game I felt like is really great. In the original Final Fantasy VII, only way to really get chocobos to find one. After you do, you have to breed them, and if you breed the right ones, then yeah, you'll be able to really go all over the world. Now this time around, they just do it by region, so there's different chocobos in each region. Some of them are fast, some of them will climb, some of them will fly, and some of them, like this one's my favorite, will glide in the water, which I really do love. So despite the fact no chocobo farming or breeding, this time around you get to actually have chocobos to have fun with. Back from Final Fantasy VII Remake, it is the side quests. Yeah, you heard me right. They're back, and this time they're a lot more fun. There are some very good ones. I enjoy some of the writing in it. Other times I found some of it silly, but it was really worth it. There's even some mini games that you do have in it can be very annoying, but still, I really enjoy the side quests. It's something you could do instead of just doing a story, or if you get bored of grinding, which I would say is go ahead and do the side quests. They're really fun. What about the side content? I actually do love it. I mean, it kept you busy. Other games, it's emptiness when you go to one place to another. This time around, this game, no, not so much. If there's, like, for example, intels you could do, like intel towers, life springs, those are fun, which will unlock. Classify intel, which I thought was really cool. Other things they did as well is also the Moogle thing and anything else of the matter. Plus, the intels you definitely do. You get intel points, which you could use later on to buy materia, which is another good thing you could get. So yeah, if you're bored, yeah, the side content will keep you busy on hours on end. I absolutely do love the party members, just like the original. I love this time around. There's some good ones. Cloud, there's your heavy hitter. Tifa, your stagger master. Yerfi, your all-around DPS beast. Aerith, your magic user that's very powerful. Red, surprising heavy hitter at times. Barrett, your long-range heavy hitter. And Kay Sith. Now, they don't have Sid and Vincent yet. However, in the next game, they'll probably be there right away. Good news is Yerfi and Vincent, or I say mainly Yerfi, is not hidden, so you get her big time during the story, which I actually do love. And her story is actually pretty good as well. So they did a great job with the party members in the Rebirth version. I'm going to go over the summons and VR combat. Yeah, VR is back from Final Fantasy VII Remake, and this time it's a very good challenge. So I'm using my old footage of Phoenix. So for instance, if you defeat Phoenix, you get to summon Phoenix. And of course, if you did the Divine Intel, Phoenix will become much more powerful. Also, you can make Phoenix weaker too if you have all three Divine Intels to make the fight much more easier as well too. As for VR combat, that's back. And of course, I felt like they did a good improvement. So if you assess your enemies, okay, know your enemies, guess what? You get to have VR matches. So if you battle some enemies too, you get them as well. Plus the enemy materia, yeah, you get all the skills there. I'm a little bit disappointed in that because I'd rather go out on the battlefield just like in the original, get hit with their enemy abilities, then I get their ability to use and abuse. But still, it's all good. The VR combat and definitely the summons. I would definitely say this. Play the summons combat when you're all maxed out. You'll have a good time doing so. Now, back from Final Fantasy VII Remake is the manuals. You get to actually improve your characters. Also, there's your weapons as well. That's back as well too. You keep on using the same weapon ability. You actually learn it. Then when you switch to another one, you keep that ability. Now, the weapon skills are there, which is very nice. So, more you develop your weapons and level up, more powerful they get. As for equipment, they are really good. You can even do some crafting, which you get some great equipment out of it. upgrade your current equipment and armor, which is very nice as well too. So yeah, they did a great job with the weapons and equipment in FF7 Rebirth. Before I talk about Queen's Blood, I'm going to go over the two main card games. First of all, Triple Triad from Final Fantasy VIII when it was during the Squaresoft era. That was really fun. That was great to play. Then Final Fantasy IX during the Squaresoft era was the Tetramaster. That was a no holds barred card game. If you're not careful, you lose all your cards on the board to your opponent. Now this time around, they added another minigame, which I felt was one of the good ones out of many of them, which is Queen's Blood. That was a blast to play. The story of it was laughable at times, but man, I had a great time playing against opponents, getting cards from certain places like Costa del Sol and the Gold Saucer. Yeah, they brought that back with a vengeance, by the way. So I felt like I was engaged in so many good matches. I had a great time playing. I had a great time beating opponents, getting new cards when I beat them. And I did beat the entire story of the Queen's Blood. That was well worth it. So yeah, Square Enix did knock it out of the ballpark, I felt like, with Queen's Blood. And also, I felt like what Square Enix should definitely do is make an app version of this game that's standalone, so this way people could play it. They'll be addicted to it for hours on end. In Final Fantasy VII OG, the original version, there was Fort Condor. I will definitely say it. That was fun back in the day. It will cost you guild to actually play the game, but it was well worth it. So, what about Fort Condor? Well, in the Final Fantasy VII Remake DLC, that was good, but I felt like in the Rebirth version, they did a better job. Yeah, they definitely focused more on what units you could use to counter, and of course, what other units you could use to cheese the whole entire board, like I did with my Fort Condor hard mode. Yeah, and there's hard mode as well that really tests you, which everything is purely limited. So this was another one of those mini games that was very addictive, very fun to do. I actually did enjoy it. Remember I said that chocobo breeding and farming was gone from the original. They replaced it with the finding the chocobo in each region. Well, guess what? You get to use them in the chocobo races, and they're really fun, the chocobo races. Sure, it reminds me of a certain game like this called Mario Kart, but you know what? I don't care. I had a blast doing it. Many of the rewards are well worth it. If, of course, you did the rest stops, you get some feathers, you get enough feathers, you get to find some chocobo gear that'll help you out during the races, and believe me, they're a giant help. This minigame I had a blast doing. I'm glad they did improve from the original version of that. I will definitely say this, though, is hopefully it's in the next game. I mean, come on, it should be. So yeah, they definitely knock it out of the ballpark with a grand slam with chocobo racing. Now, this time around, Square Enix decided to add relationships in the game. Yeah, some of the choices remind you of the BioWare games, even Baldur's Gate 3 at times. But still, they're very good. It ties to a certain event from the original, which they, by the way, they did improve upon. Well, exception of the minigame, I was like, oh boy, another minigame. We'll talk about that later. But anyways, you can actually boost your character relationships if you do choices like, for example, this, number 1. Number 2, if you do certain events, pick the right choices during those events. Side quests, yeah, that's why you should do them as well. And finally, team attacks. Yeah, if you do certain team attacks with certain characters, you boost their relationship. Like, for example, Cloud and Tifa. So yeah, they did a great job with relationships, and I really loved it in this game. They did add some good optional content in the game. Now, in the original, Gongaga was just basically an optional pit stop. You could just bypass it and don't do anything at all. This time, there's a whole chapter dedicated to the Gongaga region, which I actually did have a good time doing so. They also added more to Yurfi's story. In the original, she was a hidden character, and Wutai was very small. Hopefully, in the next one, it's much more bigger. So they had some good extra content to expand the story from the original one. I'm going to go ahead and say this. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, they have some love to the OG version. Yeah, they even have the, I should say, PlayStation 1 graphics in there in some of the mini games. Like, for example, 3D Brawler, and of course, one of my favorites, Fort Condor. So you get to see a blocky Tifa, a blocky Barret, and a blocky Cloud from time to time in this game. As for 3D Brawler, well, there's like a few other characters that are blocky as well, which is pretty fun and great to see. So Square Enix, yeah, they love the original, and they decided to put some of the original there just for people to recognize and definitely enjoy. Let's talk about the upside of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth story. There's so many good parts in it. Some of it they retain, some of it they expand upon or even improve. Like, for example, the Euron Parade, that was pretty fun. The ship, that was great too. Costa del Sol, Cosmo Canyon, that's another good one they did a great job of. And the Nebo regen. I mean, they did a wonderful job with that. Some of the characters did get some story expansions, like Yurfing even read as well. So that's the upside of the story I felt like they did a great job on. Normally, you see outfits like this in the review, either during events in the game, or I should say definitely at Costa del Sol. Guess what? You get rewarded using these outfits. Also, you get more EXP and AP gains. Hard difficulty if you want to go that route, chapter select, and many other good rewards if you beat the game. So is it worth it being Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and go for it again if you really like the game? Absolutely. Now let's go over the music and sound. For the most part, there's two aspects I want to talk about. The music and sound is really good. I mean, extremely good. So why is it in this category? Well, this game is not fucking streamer friendly at all. Oh, trust me, it's also not YouTube friendly as well. In other words, you get DMCA, you get copyright strike, you get everything thrown at you in the book. What happens if you're not doing anything YouTube, not anything serious, you just want to stream the game because you really enjoy it? Unfortunately, you cannot because, yeah, the music and sound, that is copyright like crazy. What's worse is when you do the songs, even though you turn that off, there may be some music around there as well. So you have to turn everything off in order to stream it, which fucking sucks and it's fucking bullshit. Now, the materia system is the same as before in the remake version. Now, in the original, if you max it out, another one will spawn. Not this time. No, they got rid of that nonsense in their minds, which is total BS in my mind as well. I mean, it was a good system original because it rewards you with another one because you maxed it out. I can understand because Elemental is one OP materia, but still, I mean, come on. People will grind like crazy, get free materia out of it, and hand to their other party members to do so. Yeah, this decision this time, I'm hugely disappointed in. Okay, everyone, we're going to go ahead and talk about the mini games. I talked about the three best ones. I'm not even going over the three worst ones, or I say many of the worst ones. There's some very good ones, Queen's Blood, for instance. And there were some really bad ones, like the Musclehead push-up game, or whatever that is. Also, the flight one as well. I mean, the mini games, they're good, they're bad, and they're terrible. I just wish they were more good than bad. Unfortunately, this is what we get. Okay, everyone, it is time to definitely go over the frequency of mini games. There's way too fucking many of them. You go walk around, explore, mini game. You go to town, there's a mini game. You take a walk in the woods. Oh, there's a mini game. You go take a piss. There's a fucking mini game there. Many of them are so bad that I got tired of them after the first few just to get them done. Like, for example, these fucking Muggles. Yeah, thanks to the Muggles, I probably should do is just go on YouTube, make a video in Final Fantasy 13-2 with Maul getting tossed off a cliff for over an hour, just like someone did with the Ewoks getting kicked for over an hour or two in Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2 DLC. There's way too many of them. And here's my driving point on that. So here's the list. Now, here's a list of minigames I did count for frequency and such. Now, Final Fantasy VII OG minigames from start until you leave Midgard, which is the end of the remake, by the way, is a total of 6. Now, Final Fantasy VII OG minigame count at the end of Disc 1, that is from leaving Midgard to the end of Disc 1, is 13. That does include the Gold Saucer ones, by the way. Now, Final Fantasy VII Remake minigame count, including the DLC, is 7. Without DLC, it is 5. Now, let's go over Final Fantasy VII Rebirth minigame count. Total of fucking 28. That's right, 28. You do the math, that is way more than the ones above. There's my point there. Too many minigames, and that's it. Hopefully the next Final Fantasy VII Rebirth/Remake series has less than that. This is where I'm going to have to take some points off big time. Reused content. Yeah, Chadley's back, but everybody hates Chadley. He brought Mai. She's a lot worse. As for the bosses, there's some reused boss fights from the remake game. Like, for example, this motherfucker here and Rufus. Sorry I have to spoil that, but still. It's basically almost the same as last time, unfortunately. Yeah, they reused the content. They should have did something else different. The original had the right idea of doing that. They dropped the ball on this part of the game. Now, this one is kind of big to me, is the AI with your characters. Instead of sometimes focus firing on foes unless you put them to sleep or something like that, they attack different characters. I don't mind challenges like that, but it gets ridiculous if you're doing normal combat. If there's a foe that is really dangerous, who likes to heal, who likes to stun constantly, who likes to cause so much danger. So basically, I felt like the AI for combat is a huge letdown. Let's go over the multiverse effect in the game, the bad part of the story. It's a big one. Normally, multiverses are usually good. Like, for example, sometimes they have to use what they have to use, like the Flash TV series. And other times they use from the comic books. They did a great job, like the Justice League Flashpoint Paradox movie. That was a great anime movie, by the way. Go watch it. Now, this game, it did something that was real bad, which I consider is the Flash movie multiverse theory. That was fucking terrible. With the exception, of course, Batman. And, of course, Supergirl. That was the only good part of the movie. But everything else was bad. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth did that with the multiverse effect. What's worse is they added Zack in there way too many times. I felt like Zack should have only been there like it was in the original. Yeah, that's right. In the original. This one, not so much. It was god-awful. Hopefully, in the next game, they either pull back on it. If not... yeah, it's going to suffer. It's going to be, the original going to be better than the remix. That's all I'm going to go ahead and say on that. While I'm playing Fort Condor, Stage 3 it is, again, I'm going to go ahead and go over the additions to the ending. Now, in the original version, this event that you all seen happened towards the end of Disc 1. That was good. Now, that was very emotional. It definitely defined the game. If you want to talk about Final Fantasy VII, the original version, people are going to be talking about that event. Well, that part they did a great job of. What they did absolutely terrible was a few things. Of course, I said Zack, the multiverse theory, that was bad. He had his own story, and of course, Crisis Core, very good story, by the way. What else they did bad was, again, they tried to confuse it a lot more on what happened with the event. I'm not going to spoil on how, but still, you see it, it's real bad. What's also bad was the final boss fight. I felt like that didn't belong there because I felt like it should have been in the next game to define the moment. That's right, that boss fight. I'm not talking about Genova. That was actually in the original version. They did a good job with that. But that other boss fight, even though it was a good fight, my issue with that was it didn't belong. So they added too many things, made the event a lot more confusing. I'm hoping by the time the third remake game comes out, they resolve it. If not, like I said before, the original will be definitely better than the three remake versions of Final Fantasy VII. What is the final verdict of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth? Here it is. Buy it at 25% off with a score of 7 out of 10. Well, I'm going to go ahead and kick Bahamut Risen with a fully leveled party and materia up the wazoo fully leveled. So I'm going to give my final word about the game itself. Now, the game did do some few steps up. At the same time, I felt it did many steps back, especially with the multiverse theory in the game they injected, and of course other bad changes as well. They should have stuck with the, instead of so many mini games, with the side quest system, which was very good. I do love the chocobo system. That was great as well. Combat is good, even though I do prefer, of course, the turn-based. Now, in the next game itself, I believe, yeah, like I said before, the multiverse thing, yeah, should be scaled back. Doesn't confuse people even more. Definitely make sure you get everything in Disc 2. And while Disc 3 was the final dungeon itself and the weapons, yeah, they should definitely incorporate that. They did a great job. I didn't mention in the review was the final dungeon of the game, which was fun to do. Now, in the next game, hopefully they go with that as well. And I'm going to go ahead and say one more thing that people probably agree with me on this review. And it is this. It's not a game as a live service, at least. Thank goodness for that. This is it from my Final Fantasy VII Rebirth full review video. This is Lord Fenton signing off. Thanks for watching and have a great day or night. And do please stay safe. Please subscribe to my channel for more Final Fantasy content just like this. If you like what you see, then pick my suggestion on the upper left hand corner or YouTube suggestion on the bottom left hand corner. Let's go ahead and put this monster on fire.
That's that.